Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this side away. Our bodies move to the groove and the light that flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. We get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air getting thinner. Standing in a blurry green. No one else can see us. Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this side away.
You're watching JJDrones on YouTube.
Hi, I'm Karl Marx. You're watching JJDrones on YouTube.
I'm Karl Marx and I approve this message.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I go.
Live from the Volvo 780 studios in anywhere USA. This is JJDrones Live. And now, here's JJDrones.
It is JJDrones Live. Welcome to the train wreck. Thank you everybody for coming in. We've got Exploring with Drew. We've got Haley, baby girl. Thank you so much for coming in. We've got Christian from Mainlight Drone. We've got Dan, the droning veteran, as always. We've got my mom, Nancy Naylor, and I'm sure my dad's in the background back there hanging out. But we've got a pumped up show today filled with information. You're going to want to stick around for that. If you would like to have your video featured on my website, email me, jason@jjdrones360.com. And for everything JJ Drones related, go to jjdrones360.com. And if you are going to do some Amazon shopping, go to jjdrones360.com/Amazon1, and you can click on the links there and you can do your shopping and go and get anything that you want after you click on one of those links, and all the proceeds go to Wreaths Across America. And if you would like to have one of your videos featured in our Blinker Flu of the Week segment, I'm sure that a lot of you have them, email Dan at droningveteran@gmail.com. And if you'd like to order some of Haley's coasters, they're $10 each. You just go to paypal.me/JJDrones, put what you would like on the coaster, and we will do our best to fulfill those orders. And if you have... Dan is in the background making faces at me. So if you want to put in your order, just go ahead and do that. We got a big show today and a lot of information to get to, so we're going to jump right into it, folks. So I appreciate all of you for being here. Stormy Sky Roll Productions, Jenny and Steve, thank you so much for coming in. We have, as we do every week, our co-hosts of the show, and they're actually might be popping up as me in the chat, so don't be too disturbed. We're trying something a little bit new in this show, but let's welcome our co-host of the show. We've got, let's see, hit the right button, Dan, the droning veteran. And we've got Brian from Cheesehead Media. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Oh, thank you for having us. And this week's flavor kind of takes me back to Iraq and Afghanistan.
Oh, it does.
Ramen, chicken flavor.
Oh, the top ramen, the chicken flavor. Oh, wow,
Buddy.
yes. Oh, hang on, I got to take a swig of this while we hear from our sponsor, who's here with us every week, and as our only sponsor, it is Sadie the Sleeping Spaniel.
Hey everybody, it's Sadie the Sleeping Spaniel again, and it's another week of Blinker Food of the Week Awards. And this week is going to be a great week with these videos. Go out there and vote for your favorite, because we're coming up to the end of the season, and we're going to be voting for Blinker Food of the Year very, very soon.
That's right, and it is Blinker Fluid of the Week. And it's our Blinker Fluid of the Week segment. And Luca, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you being here. And we're going to get this show on the road. Hey, Dan, is this guy there like every week? I mean, every week you come up with the same guy. I mean, is he always sick?
Always. My favorite
I mean,
part.
the poor guy. Somebody's got to take him to the doctor or something. I think he may have a stomach virus.
He does a lot of sacrifice for the show.
I see that. I'm pretty impressed with his dedication. Definitely more dedication than I have for the show. Right? So. All right, so we're off with our number one. What do we got going on here, Dan?
So I'm just cruising down the road, I'm doing the speed limit, and 35 miles an hour is the speed limit. I set the cruise control on this so that I can go faster. Every time, I had to take it off.
Well, that's pretty rude.
It was. All because this guy up front, second car in front, was on his phone.
No, people don't use their phone while they're driving, do they?
No. I will give him though the credit because there was a jaywalker.
Well, yeah, he didn't hit the jaywalker. That's a good thing.
Jaywalker, so that was good. But he still almost hit me.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's okay to hit trucks, though.
He bounced right off.
Drive better when you're not on your phone, you know?
Well, he can hear you, Dan.
Oh, definitely.
I
wish
yeah.
that it would have came out a little bit better.
Well, this number two. I mean, you have a problem with this?
Nah. Oh, wait a minute.
No, that happens all the time. ShipX, congratulations on hiring some really safe drivers.
ShipX. Yeah, buddy.
Good stuff right there.
And then, Brian, we've got something here from you. And you're muted, buddy.
Yeah, I know. That guy flies by me at about 10 over the speed limit that I'm already doing. He'll use a turn signal until he actually decides that yes, I'm going to stop. Yes, we changed 2 lanes, and then we start blinker. You know.
So the only thing I noticed about this, that sign below the speed, below the stop sign.
Oh, you eliminated part of it there, Dan.
I did eliminate part of it.
Yeah.
but the sign below it says right turn, yield to stop or obey law, obey this sign or something like that.
Yeah. Right turn must obey the stop. But the funny thing is that road is a dead end road, coming off of a main 6-lane road. But you have to yield on what it is there's a high school across the street, so a lot of kids will make a U-turn and go straight, so they don't have to wait for a left. But the part that was I actually followed that truck all the way, and we ended up stopping at the same stoplight. So after he had to pass me, half a mile down the road, he was still waiting at the same stoplight.
Oh, jeez. Well, Ted, thank you so much for coming in. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming in. And Chris, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you being here. Everybody go to the chat and vote for your favorite. It's either number 1, number 2, or number 3. We'll withhold our votes to the end of the voting, but number 1 being the guy on the phone that just about crashed into Dan. Number 2, the ShipX driver, who is number 1 in my book because he's fantastic with his right turns. And then number 3, we have Brian's individual that didn't turn on his blinker until after he had already come through 2 lanes. And I think he rolled through that stop sign, but that's okay because stop signs are
optional.
Yes, they're optional.
The ones with the white border are optional.
The great Karl Marx has graced us with his presence, so we have to acknowledge that. Thank you for coming in, Karl. And Deer Corner, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you coming in. And Mom says that Dad and her think number 2. But we do have a little bit of breaking news on the show, and if anybody's been paying attention. No hurricane this time. Well, there is a hurricane coming to Florida. But that is not what we're talking about today. Today's breaking news is Skydio. And if I was a professional, I would know where I put that stuff. Skydio's consumer drones are no longer. Skydio consumer drones are no longer. They are just, they have decided that they're going to go a different route. And so we're going to go and read what the founder of Skydio said about their plans, because I found this interesting. And Dan and Brian, we're going to talk about this. While Skydio 2 has been an incredible success in enabling new kinds of content capture, Skydio drones are also having a transformative impact for over 1,500 enterprise and public sector customers, putting sensors in dangerous and important places to perform inspections, find missing children, and protect our troops around the world. Our drones are making the core industries that our civilization runs on: public safety, transportation, energy, construction, and defense, safer and more efficient. And it's becoming more and more clear every day that we need trusted, secure drones to meet these critical applications. The impact we're having with our enterprise and public sector customers has become so compelling that it demands nothing less than our full focus and attention. As a result, I have made the very difficult decision to sunset our consumer business in order to put everything we've got into serving our enterprise and public sector customers. This means that we will no longer offer our Skydio 2 Plus, Starter, Sports, Cinema, or Pro kits. We will continue to provide software and customer support for existing customers. We will stand by our warranty terms, Skydio Care, and will continue vehicle repairs. Additionally, we will retain inventory of accessories for as long as we can to support the need for replacement batteries, propellers, charging cables, etc. Commercial, enterprise, and public sector organizations can purchase the Skydio 2 Plus Enterprise Kit from their Skydio representative or reseller. We will be forever grateful to every consumer who has purchased a Skydio drone. We hope you have enjoyed the product as much as we enjoyed building it and supporting you. Adam Bree. Now, gentlemen, I wanted to talk to you about this because Skydio is, as far as I know, the only manufacturer that has been making drones here in the U.S. Brian, Dan, do you have any comments on that?
That is correct. I do know that they are the only ones. I've never purchased or flown a Skydio, so I don't have any experience with them. But it is a sad day.
Brian?
No, I just, I didn't even realize that they were, I knew they were U.S. owned. I didn't know that they were assembled here in the U.S. Knowing that, I probably would have purchased their product. I just wasn't aware.
Right. Well, and there really wasn't a whole bunch of fanfare with Skydio. You kind of had to be in the know on the products as far as the technology and everything, and follow it really close. So it's not like they advertised everywhere. I was a big fan of Skydio. In fact, before I got my first DJI drone, I wanted to get the first generation of the Skydio. Now, when they first came onto the market back in 2018, it was kind of a proof of concept type of deal where they wanted to put it out there and they wanted to try it and see if they would be able to actually have a consumer drone that would fly and do what they wanted it to do. I mean, these drones had 10 cameras around it, so it was the best autonomous drone out there. There wasn't anything that could touch it with its tracking feature, and but again, the right tool for the right, right. But Dan, you got to have the right tool for the right job, right?
Exactly.
So Brian, you're not going to take the Skydio out, and you're not going to go out there and film trains and stuff with it because you want something that's more cinematic with something like that, correct? But if you had like the Skydio, that would be something that we use in a completely different application, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, every place I fly is nice and wide open. Skydio's ability to track through woods and brush and bramble, that'd be perfect for a person who does an outdoor channel.
Right. Yeah, and that's why Ted is saying that Skydio was perfect for what I wanted to do with my channel, but no more. Now there are some Skydios that are popping up on eBay, and I saw one today that was right around $2,500, and so they're just going to go up and up in price. But let's discuss this a little bit deeper with what's going to happen as time goes on, because it says that they're going to honor the warranties and the repairs and stuff, and they're going to have accessories. But how long do you think that they're going to have accessory, guys?
Till they run out.
Well, actually, I think it's going to be longer than that. I mean, their enterprise platform is the same. It's the same platform flying machine. Where it's the camera stuff that's on it. So I think as long as they're supporting this Skydio 2 for the enterprise, there'll be parts available to the consumer. Now, it's when they decide to switch to the Skydio 3, and from looks on their website, they plan on announcing that next month at some trade show. That may be marking the end of life for the consumer too. So. And
that's also going to depend too on how they manufacture that new drone. If the propellers are going to be different, if if the controllers are going to be different, the radio frequencies are going to be about the same. But as far as that goes, not really too much is going to change as far as that goes. But I think my dad says warranty is normally good for the original purchaser only, which is true. You can't go out there and sell your drone, give it to somebody else, and they can't use the warranty that's on them. So I think by virtue of the fact that they believe that people are going to be buying them used, that the warranty claims are going to go down precipitously as the years go by, to the point where they're not going to have to service them at all. But they're still going to be servicing the software side, not necessarily the hardware side or even the repairs. You would probably have to do a third-party research as far as that goes. But Brian, you and I, we were talking earlier today, and I told you, and what I'm going to tell everybody here is that Skydio started out as a consumer drone. They didn't come out as an enterprise drone. they didn't get into the enterprise market until they started selling enough of their consumer drones that they were making enough money that they could actually go out there and provide that enterprise platform. So Dan and Brian, either one of you or both of you, is this Skydio just giving everybody in the consumer market a big, F you and middle finger and saying we're going to go make some money doing other things?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I mean, you got to go where the money's at, and if they think they can make more money going that way, more power to them.
You know, I was kind of thinking about this after our discussion, Jason, and I'm just wondering if, I don't know how much money they truly made in the consumer space, being as small as they are. I'm betting, though, that they have backers, economic backers in the background.
Oh, they do. They do. They had a crowdfunding of I think it was like 32 or it's some huge numbers, like $32 billion in crowdfunding.
Yeah, it's those people that I think are maybe pushing them more towards the enterprise, and maybe they want to as a company. But if they're saying, hey, you're not making any money on this consumer level stuff, but we see the rate of return on the enterprise. That's where they're being pushed by their supporters.
Okay, so my dad's saying that he's thinking it's because there isn't any money in the consumer market, and I would probably agree with him to a certain extent. And if anybody that knows Skydio and their history, especially with the Skydio 2, you had to wait for 6 months to a year to get your drone because there were so many orders for that drone. And Dan, you know about this, where there was a huge waiting list that you had to get on, and you had to pay a deposit, and then when your drone was ready, then you paid the rest of the money for the drone. They'd send it out to you. But there was a huge waiting list, and they were making money hand over fist on that drone. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I wish Skydio all the best. I honestly do, and maybe sometime in the future they'll ramp up production on their enterprise side and come back to the consumer side. But I'll ask you, Dan, first, and then Brian next. If Skydio comes back with a new consumer drone, would you purchase it?
I would definitely consider purchasing it. That was one of the things that held me back from buying one before, was I didn't want to buy one and wait 6 months, whatever it was. So I was like, I can get one on DJI and have it here in 2 days.
Right. Brian?
I think it's going to be the capabilities of the drone. What is the camera like? What is the video quality like? What is the photo quality like? If it meets my needs as a photographer and a videographer, I most definitely would consider it. If they're if DJI has got them beating hand over fist in quality, maybe not, or another company.
Ted says I would say yes, but consumer market is what started all, so it had to make money. But maybe since they had been in their money tanked. Well, I mean, we don't know the ins and outs of their the dollars in their company and how they were making the most money. But I do know that we're, as drone operators, we're kind of stuck in a bind because now you have the choice of DJI, or DJI. Brian, what are you going to choose?
I will pick the third one, please.
Okay, no problem. Dan, you have those three choices.
I want number 4.
Oh, number 4. Oh, my gosh.
Too.
My gosh, yours there. I got your number 4 right here. It's right here. It's a Green Bay Packers pillow.
Well, that's last place right there.
And watch. Wow, it flew really far.
It did.
And you don't need remote ID for that one.
No, and it's got cushion. It has a soft landing every time.
It does. JJDrones. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Yeah, there isn't really any drone out there that is going to meet the quality of DJI or Skydio out there. Even Autel is out there, and they're not. They don't have the quality that DJI has. They don't have the quality that Skydio had. So you're gonna take a really big hit if you're going to go. And I mean, even with Autel, you're going to be paying more for a far less superior product if you go with Autel than you go with DJI. So just something for everybody to know about. I'm sure that most people in the drone community has heard about it, but I wanted to put my 2 cents out there and just say, Skydio, when you come back, I'll be here as a consumer waiting to purchase your new drone, because I really think that there are some applications that I could use it for, and I'm sad to see you go, but I'm not going to buy a used one off of eBay for more than what it's worth. It's just it's not very helpful to me. So I really hope that they do, but I do also hope the best for their company, because, like I said, they are a United States company. They're USA assembled, and I gotta support the people that are doing the things here in the U.S. So just wanted to put that out there. Dan or Brian, any closing thoughts on that?
You know, I think if Skydio came back, that definitely went. I'd love to see GoPro come back. I mean, they made that one attempt. Obviously, it had issues, but I think if they would have stuck with it, they may have came up with something.
Dan, do you want to comment on the GoPro drone?
No, I almost bought the GoPro drone, and then I watched some videos of it, and I was like, no. Maybe GoPro 2. But I might be a 3 or 4 GoPro number now. You know.
Yeah, no. We'll see.
With the Skydio and stuff, you know, the assembled in the U.S., it doesn't necessarily mean the parts were made in the U.S. Because I go to places all the time, you know, and to deliver, and their model is made in the USA, and I'm like, but everything I brought you says made in Japan or made in China.
Right.
So it's like they got too lenient on that made in USA.
Right. No, I completely agree, and you know, you gotta hope for companies to keep some people employed over there, and they're based out of California, so you know they've got that going against them too. So Skydio, I mean, you're a great company. You had a great product, and I hope that you come back with even better products. Ted says that the Exo drones are awesome, but I will have to tell Sony to make a drone. Sony does make a drone. In fact, Brian and I were looking at it earlier. It's $10,000 for the platform, and then you got to pay another $2,000 for the camera, or not the camera, but for the gimbal. He says it'll overheat and dive bomb if it's a GoPro drone. Very, very true. So that's everything that I can think about talking about Skydio. But the big news that was out there that is coming soon to a drone flight near you, and that is going to be remote ID begins.
I don't see it.
Yeah, it's coming, Dan. It's coming. It's September 16th. Just remote ID. This is a huge controversial topic, especially in the drone community, and I know that for a fact. And but there is a reason that we're going into it, because we want you to be educated. You can't only be angry about it, because we did have our chance to do public discussions on it. We had our time in court, and we did everything that we could to try and put this thing off. But right now, we are going to be dealing with the fact that remote ID is going to be a real thing. And some people know about it, some people don't. Some people just know little bits about it. So we're going to go in depth with remote ID and trying not to completely bore the audience. Drew says, I was out at the lake Thursday and my drone decided to go for a swim. And I thought Dan was bad for crashing. You know what, Drew? I blame Dan. Because he flies all of his drones over the water and makes me cringe. So I'm blaming Dan for Drew's drone going in the water.
Well, that's because Drew sent me all the snow.
Oh, okay.
Be nicer this year, Drew.
So, Brian, do you want to pull up the slideshow of the remote ID compliant aircraft? We're going to go through and we're going to talk a little bit. We didn't go through every piece of information as far as every drone because there are so many different drones out there. As you can see on the top slide here, there's 162 drones that are compliant as of August 22nd. So let's go on. So the companies of interest, Amazon Prime Air, their MK27-2, that has remote ID. Now this one here is a little surprise. The Skydio 2 and Skydio 2 Plus. In all their literature that they had on their website, they weren't promising that they were going to be remote ID compliant, but they actually are. So Skydio 2 and Skydio 2 Plus are actually going to be already set up with remote ID. And then Brian, why don't you tell us why the Parrot Anafi is kind of a surprise?
I think Parrot's been out of the drone business for 3 years. Maybe
it's crazy how long they've been out of the business, yet their equipment. Now this is what gives me hope for the software on the Skydio 2 and the Skydio 2 Plus, because Parrot has been out of business for several years now, but they're still doing firmware upgrades so that their Anafi drones are still available to use with the remote ID. And then the Sony ARS S1
done in the future or in the past, was they already prepared for it years past?
Well, I mean, that's entirely possible, Dan, but I don't think that they saw remote ID coming back when they went out of business. I mean, I could be completely wrong with that.
Did they?
But I mean, they got smarter people than me on there, and that doesn't take much. So
Well, I have a funny story, kind of. It's not remote ID or anything like that, but I was in Afghanistan, and I used my iPhone for an alarm clock to get me up in the morning to do my, start my day. Well, my the phone stopped working, or the alarm wouldn't go off.
okay.
And everybody had an iPhone. The phone wouldn't go off. Now, my phone was never connected to the internet while I was deployed. So it had that big bug where the alarms did not work for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So my phone was not connected, never connected from the time I left the U.S. till I returned, well, I should say Kyrgyzstan. From the time I left Kyrgyzstan to my phone was not connected to the internet. And
Oh, jeez.
3 days later, when the bug fixed itself, my phone, after I bought a new alarm clock, our alarm started working again, but it was not connected to the internet. So how did it update?
Oh, jeez. That's a good question, Dan. Ted says, I will have to research what kind of drone would fit me. My research is, hey, Jason, which one? That's pretty accurate. Brian, you can go on to the next slide. So the Autel drones that are on the list that are compliant with remote ID are the Dragonfish Standard, Light, and Pro, and the Evo 2, the Evo Light, the Light Plus, the Max, and the Nano. So if you have any of those drones, those are going to be compliant. And then for DJI, we've got the Avata, the Air 2S, the Mavic 3, Cine, Classic, and Pro, and the Pro Cine. And then for the Mini 3, the Mini 3 Pro, the Inspire 3, the Agris T30 and T40, and then the M3 30, 300, 350, and variants. So those are all the DJI drones that are remote ID compliant. And so you're not going to have to get anything to put on your drone. Hey, Dave, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you being here. But now the missing or rescinded from DJI, the Inspire and Inspire 2, the Phantom series, the Spark, the Tello, the Air 2, the Mavic Pro, the Mavic Pro Platinum. The Platinum has been rescinded. So Mavic Pro Platinum users, you do not have remote ID compliance right now. The Mavic 2 and variations. So that's the Mavic 2, the Mavic 2 Pro, the Mavic 2 Zoom. Is there a Mavic? Well, I think those are the only two, isn't it?
There's
Okay.
a Mavic 2 Enterprise as well.
Okay, so the Mavic 2 Enterprise. And then we got the Mini and the Mini SE, the Mini 2 and the Mini 2 SE, the DJI FPV, Dan, and the Mavic Air 3 is not on the list, but you are able to register the Air 3 through the Drone Zone website with the serial number. So it says that it's good, but it is not listed on the website. So be very careful with that.
I would say the same thing with the Mini 2 SE. That was just came out this summer. Is a cheaper version of the, to be a little bit cheaper than the Mini 3 and Mini 3 Pro. So, is the SE going to be compliant by September 16th?
And this applies to anyone that's a drone pilot, Kathy. Is there another slide, Brian, or do I go? Okay, so I'm going to go to the website now because there's also an update for some of those DJI drones that's going to be coming. And Dan, you're going to be happy to hear this. Let's go here. Okay, so on this website, it shows all of the models of the DJI drones that need or don't need a broadcast module. Now, the DJI FPV, there is going to be an update August 31st, Dan, 2023 at the latest. You'll have a firmware upgrade that will make it so that you don't need an attachment for remote ID. The Mavic Air 2 is going to have one by September 30th. The Mavic 2 Zoom and the Mavic 2 Pro and the Phantom 4 Pro. Now, let's just make sure everybody gets this straight. It's this version alone. It's the Phantom 4 Pro versus 2.0. You're going to get a firmware upgrade by December 31st at the latest. And that's going to make it so that you can fly those drones without having to have a broadcast module. And so that's important information because, Dan, let me ask you a question. Do you think that the broadcast modules are cheap or expensive?
I think they're garbage. Expensive garbage.
Yes.
Very, very
Yes.
expensive.
As you
I
can
think
tell
gold cheaper.
from... What's that?
I said, I think you can get gold cheaper.
Yeah, I think you can. And the reason that Dan is saying that is because this is such a touchy subject for the drone community because there's so many things wrong with it, but it is something that we're going to have to comply with, unfortunately. And I did have Dan do some research for me, and that's why I went to him. So look, we're going to go through at least 4 of these. And here is the first broadcast module I'm going to show you. It's from Drone Tag. And this is a smaller one. This is going to be one that you could probably put on like a Mavic Air 2. I don't know if you'd be able to put that on on the DJI FPV. You're definitely not putting that on a homemade FPV drone. Maybe not, but it'd be really, really difficult to do that. And they're looking for $218.90 for that one. So that's an expensive little addition to your drone. And again, that's going to add weight to your drone. And what happens, Brian, when you add weight to your drone?
Battery life decrease.
GoPro.
Right? So you're going to have to...
Not
Go
only
ahead,
that,
Dan.
though, well, it's $218. So and now if you're 107, if you have 4 drones, you need to times that $218 times 4 because you cannot transfer. If you're a hobbyist, you can transfer from that module from drone to drone. But if you are 107 flying to make money, you have to have a module for each drone.
Right, it's the same policy that they have with the drone registration, that if you're a hobbyist, you have to have it a different license for each drone. And if you are, if you're a hobbyist, you only need 1 license for your entire fleet. But if you are Part 107, you have to have a different license for every drone that you have. Right now, I'm going to have my Mavic 2 Pro sitting. I'm going to wait for the update. I'm not going to buy the dongle because I don't need it. I've got the Mavic 3 Classic and I've got the Avata, and both of those are compliant. The only thing that sucks about it is the fact that the Mavic 2 Pro is my go-to for vehicle tracking because the Mavic 3 Classic is garbage when it comes to vehicle tracking. And that's why I wanted to have a Skydio, is for the vehicle tracking because it's so good at what it does. But the best that I have in my arsenal right now is the Mavic 2 Pro, and I'm going to be losing that at least until December 31st, so that's kind of a pain in the butt. But here's option number 2. This is the Drone Tag Mini Broadcast Module, and this one is $328.90. So this one's a little bit smaller, and it costs more, and it's probably going to weigh less. So that's probably definitely for your Mavic Air 2s and such. Brian?
Also, Jason, look at the estimated to ship date. That's after September 16th.
It is, and that is another problem that the FAA is going to have to consider here, is all of these modules. We're going to go on to remote module number 3. This one's $39. This is one for people that do building their own drones. So you'll be able to buy something like that for $39. Or this one here, another remote ID for somebody that builds their own, is $59.95. But all of these have one common denominator, and Brian was just touching on it. Dan, do you know what the common denominator is?
They invade your privacy.
No, they can't be shipped because they can't be
Well,
bought.
That's true.
They're all on back order. So you're going to be going out there and you want to be, let's say you're a Part 107 pilot or a recreational pilot, and your name is Brian, and he has a YouTube channel called Cheesehead Media, and he wants to go out there, and he's got this beautiful drone that he's had for 5 years, and it's not remote ID compliant. But he wants to obey the law. He wants to. But he can't. Because there's no way of buying a module right now. So you're pretty much SOL.
Just break the law.
Hey, John, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you being here. So if you want to buy a remote ID edition for your drone, it's going to take a while to get it. And then if you don't have a remote ID, the FAA and their infinite wisdom have come up with something that is going to knock your socks off. Brian, why don't you tell us about it?
Are you talking about our flying areas where we can fly once September 16th rolls out?
Yeah, in fact, I've got a screen to share with you, and let's see here. Here we go. There we go. Why don't you share a little bit of information from this website here?
Okay. Well, Afria is an area where you can actually fly your drone without having a remote ID on it. Except there's a little small problem with that. There are very
Oh, what's
few
that?
Koreas currently available. In fact, I can
Now-
show you that.
Now wait a second. Before you get into that, Brian.
Okay.
You see this picture here?
Oh, the one
It
where
says-
all the people are playing together?
Yeah, they're all just kind of, coddled together. They got their drones up in the air, and it says drones without remote ID. Dan, do those people look happy?
No.
They look like they're in a cage.
They look like they're in a cage.
They look like they're in a blue cage.
They do. And what is the purpose that we fly drones for, gentlemen?
To have fun.
Enjoyment. Stress relief.
Yeah, but we do it to take videos, to take pictures of beautiful scenery. How much beautiful scenery are you going to get from that right there? Is my question.
None.
Go ahead, and Brian. You can put up the map, and we're going to take a look and see what areas we have to actually fly these drones.
Hold on, I think one of them switched screens. This is where we're learning what we're doing, people. The train wreck is real. I'm just going to zoom in the Milwaukee area because that's what I'm familiar with. And you see these blue dots that are appearing? There's 3 of them. Those are the 3 places we can fly. Not Chicago.
Okay, so there's Lake Michigan.
Yeah, at least you can fly Lake Michigan. That's blue.
Yeah, that's blue.
A little bit of a delay here, so.
No, it's fine. I had the same issue when I was trying to pull it up on my map, so I don't feel too bad now.
In StreamYard. There we go. See if I can turn off some of these layers. So the 3 circles with the numbers for people who aren't familiar, those are different airports, and it's a class of airspace. If you get Lance approval to fly, that's actually your maximum altitude. I mean, our maximum altitude already is 400 feet, but
Yes.
this is within a controlled airspace that you can fly up to 400 feet. That's what that is. And I will start turning off everything.
Now we do have some zones of flying there, don't we, Brian?
Well, there are. We'll get into those here in a second. So these 4 little dots are actually airfields. This one here by Waukesha belongs to the Pebble Creek Flyers. And if you go to their website, you can see that their airfield is like 150 yards by maybe 75 yards. So that's what you get to fly.
Well, according to that, it said 400 feet in the air, and you have 600 feet circumference, right?
Yes.
Or 660 feet.
Yes.
Doesn't that sound like fun, Dan?
Nope.
So this is what you get to do. If you have no remote ID and you want to comply with the rule, you have to go to one of these zones, which if you live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, I'm going to, ruin it for you. There is none. So you have to be in an area where, and in fact, these are the only ones in the state of Wisconsin, isn't it, Brian?
They are. And what was really odd about this is that there is a model, an AMA aviation club that's about 3 miles from my house down here in, by Waxdale. And Yeah, it's not listed. That I'm trying to click on the wrong one. Go down here. Just zoom in. Right off the West Road here.
And it's not listed.
No, it's not. But if I switch over to this map, let's see if let me share this. StreamYard. Share. Stop sharing this. Talking to myself.
No, not a problem. I just want to go over a little bit of this information while you're looking there, Brian. The FRIA is actually an area you can actually be. The only way that you can have a FRIA is it has to be a FAA recognized community-based organization or an educational institution. And then if you want to do that, you have to apply for the FRIA. You can't just have it, okay? So if you want to have one, you have to go to one of your educational places, or you have to go to an air club of some sort and request the FAA to make that a FRIA zone. And then once you get approval, then you'll have 660 foot circumference and 400 feet in the air to fly. And so I mean, it's not good.
Don't forget you gotta hand out all that money.
It takes the fun out of flying drones. It really does. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, for those wondering, here's that airfield on West Road. I mean, it's a dead end road.
Look at all
and
that
there's nothing around it, but
video.
You can't fly there. So, and what are you going to? I mean, for me, I guess it'd be okay. There's train tracks over there. Really, there's. I'm going to do.
Yeah, but those train tracks are 850 feet, so you're
right.
Better zoom in, buddy. Zoom in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dan, I know how you feel about the remote ID. Brian, I know how you feel about the remote ID, and I know you both know how I feel about it. The problem is that as Brian said, the train wreck is real. We're dealing with the rules that the FAA has brought down on us, and a lot of it is because of people that have done irresponsible things, flying their drones, and it's going to punish the rest of us that fly and don't end up causing a whole bunch of issues, such as the guy that flew into the Cincinnati Bengals game last year, or other people that have flown into events that they shouldn't have, or flying irresponsibly. So we have to live with the rules that are set out for us. And I was watching an interview yesterday, and the gentleman that was talking said that he spoke with a member of the law enforcement that was part of their drone team, and they have no idea on how they're going to enforce this, especially seeing as how there are no way of people that have drones without remote ID on them to be able to fly them. But I highly suggest that you go to the FAA's website, and then check and make sure that your drone is remote ID compliant before you fly after the 16th, because if it's not, you're basically gambling. But there is an app out there for law enforcement. There's an app out there for the public. I am not going to advertise them, because I don't need any more Karens out there going around with their phones trying to find out where I'm flying my drones.
Yeah, after September 16th, you better fly packing.
Right?
I mean, funny story, okay, so, and this was just a joke. We was out flying. I got to email the guy anyways. I haven't done it yet, but I'm still going through the footage. But we was out flying at this lake right here behind me, actually. And this one guy comes walking up to us after we was done flying, and and we was packing up, And I don't know what he was, but we made it a joke. But anyways, I had my 357 attached to my hip, and he kind of walks up, and oh hey, do you mind if I have a drone? We was just
Right.
joking about it, but I mean, it could have been true. He could have been a little bit ticked off, and then he comes strolling up because I was flying my drone over like around them
Right.
and stuff. I do have a little bit of footage of him. I told him, I says, I got a little bit, but I don't try and capture. I can't not get you because you're there. I
Right.
don't focus in on you
Right.
unless I know who you are. But
Craig G.
you know,
Craig G says remote ID is heading this way to Australia too. Not looking forward to that. So, yeah, Craig, the UK, Australia, Canada, you all look forward to getting this this wonderful thing bestowed upon you, because pretty much whatever the FAA does, other countries in the world follow. And unfortunately, I'm sorry for you guys. And I guess we may be one of the, I don't think we're the first to, or no, actually, I think we are the first to have this technology. So we're the ones that get to test it out first. Yeah, Ted, it's almost like someone wants to stop drones altogether. Do any of you think they are trying to stop the flying altogether in the future? I actually do think they are. There's one senator in particular by the name of, well, he's from Utah. Dan's very familiar with him, but I can't think of his name right now. Gosh darn it.
it's not a mid, is it?
No, it's not a Mitt. It's the other
Mike?
one. No. Mike,
Mike Lee?
yes, Senator Mike Lee from Utah is very much anti-drone. And I really want to talk to him one of these days, because he's all about freedom and the Constitution and everything. But when it comes to drones, not so much. Drew, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you being here. We're getting to the end of the show anyway. I'm glad that you were able to make it through the entire program. And for all of you that have made it this far, congratulations, because I know that's a heavy topic. I know it is. Not too many people want to hear about it. Everybody wants to ignore it. But as long as you have the information, that's all I care about. What you do with the information is up to you. Dan's going to make his decision. Brian's going to make his decision. I'm going to make my decision. None of us are going to make it public on this show. You can do it on your channel if you want, but I'm keeping my my information to myself. But the biggest thing is just go out there, fly safe, fly smart. Don't do things that's irresponsible, that's going to draw attention to yourself, and you're probably not going to run into any issues with any law enforcement. I've been doing that now for 2 years, and I haven't been asked anything by law enforcement. I'd have one Karen in the playground when I wanted to fly my Avata, and all I did was I took my stuff, went home, and waited for her to leave. And then after she left, I went back and I flew my drone. No big deal, right? So just follow those steps and stay stay on the good side, because the better off, or if you are approached by law enforcement, be respectful. Be very respectful, because as long as we're able to be respectful and have good dialogue with some of these law enforcement officers, I think that we can get some understanding from them too. But Ted's taken off, so thank you so much. Appreciate you being here, Ted. Says, don't shoot any drones down, people. You're not allowed. That's so true. But we are going to get to our winner of the Blinker Fluid of the Week Awards. And I know that... oh, wow. Oh, wow. The winner of this week's Blinker Fluid of the Week Award is...
Number one?
Number 2. ShipX.
Good old ShipX. Grab a
Did you send that video to the safety director?
Oh, I was just going to say, if anybody would like to, share this video with the safety director over there at ShipX, definitely go ahead and do so, because I'm sure that they would enjoy watching their driver win the Blinker Fluid of the Week award, because, that's a high honor. It's a high honor.
It's chicken flavor.
It is. It's top ramen chicken flavor. So you can't do much better than that. But we've hit our hour marks, folks. So I'm going to let Brian and Dan give us some parting words. Brian?
I'll just fly safe.
Fly safe. Work hard. Use your blinker fluid.
Yes.
And have a great week.
Yes, and everybody have a great week, and make sure you join us next week for another episode of our JJDrones Sunday Get Together. I appreciate all of you for coming along this ride with us. Unfortunately, Brian's not going to be here next week, so say goodbye to Brian, but he'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Bye, Brian.
Appreciate you coming along for this ride with us, and we'll see you later on down the road. Bye, everybody.